twice because last time I messed up and I didn't record it at all. But we're human and we definitely messed up. But before we begin, I want to play this trailer and then we'll give an introduction to your bio and then we'll jump in from there. So hold
Okay.
on 1 minute. We'll be right back after these messages.
Okay.
So why do you do this? Why do you wrestle?
When people look at me, the first thing they see is what's missing. If I win, having one leg won't be the most important thing about me.
The champ is here! Celebration dinner for Anthony!
The mom told me about that Drexel scholarship.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna keep my options open.
When you could go to school for free? Hey, you heard what your son said? He's gonna keep his options open.
Every big college has seen you wrestle, and so far, Drexel's the only one that made the offer.
Have you heard from ASU? The best college wrestlers in the world go there. Anthony.
The best I could offer you is to walk on.
I wish you the best, but I'm not interested.
Listen up. You're gonna have to beat out men who were recruited to be on the Arizona State University wrestling team. You're gonna have to prove everyone wrong just to make the team.
Hey, sure you don't want to run track?
Holding me back, you're pulling me down.
You are 6 months behind on the mortgage.
It's a perfect opportunity for Anthony to pitch in.
I'm not letting him quit wrestling, and I'm not letting him quit school.
I ain't got a choice, I can't just...
I got you. I'm here. Anthony, your greatest opponent, never gonna be somebody standing across from you on a mat. What's all this?
Dear Mr. Robles, I'm in the 3rd grade, and you're my hero. I wanted to tell you how much I look up to you. You make people believe in something.
Surprised to see you.
Don't be.
When they see you, they don't see someone who's missing a leg. They see someone who is unstoppable.
I'm not done yet.
I wish you...
You can show them that anything is possible.
Oh my God, is that guy missing a leg?
That's my son. What, you're not gonna cheer?
I used to be angry all the time, but I'm not angry anymore. So what are you?
Professor, we can't hear you.
My bad. This happens all the time, but it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Judith Robles, thank you, who has been a dedicated advocate for the untapped first-generation students and their families across Arizona for over 14 years. She has consistently provided invaluable mentorship, guidance, and direction to students on their journey to higher education, helping them navigate the complexities of academic life and beyond. Dr. Robles holds a bachelor's degree in communication with a minor in English literature from Arizona State University, a master's degree in higher and post-secondary education, and a doctorate. Dr. Judith Robles has a doctorate in educational leadership from Northern Arizona University. Throughout her career, she has contributed to the educational growth of countless students while dedicating time to cultivating lasting relationships that support both students and colleagues. Beyond her professional accomplishments, Dr. Robles is a proud mother of 5 and a beloved nana to 10 grandchildren, balancing her academic and professional commitments with her deep, deep dedication to family. Unstoppable, what we just experienced for 2.5 minutes, is the inspiring, true story of Anthony Robles, played by Jarrell Jerome, who was born with one leg, but whose indomitable spirit and unbreakable resolve empowered him to defy the odds and pursue his dreams. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, and with a round of applause, unmute your microphones. We're going to turn Dr. Robles purple and pink and red. Make some noise for Dr. Judith Robles.
Yeah.
Dr. Robles,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is such an honor. And I'm hoping that most, if not all of you, have had a chance to watch Unstoppable.
Yeah, that's that we tried. I tried with a particular class. Yes, the entrepreneur leadership course. We watched it about 2 weeks ago because it takes a while to process. I've watched it at least 5 times.
Uh,
I'm trying to get my kids to watch it. Like, but Dad, but I'm like, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. But beyond Unstoppable, talk to us about. Oh, you do have a presentation. Would you like to present that presentation?
we can just have a conversation. I mean, to me, it was just a guideline to kind of talk through my story, but I mean, I'm totally okay with it. And I do have to say, is this movie is more than a wrestling film. And I want people to understand that it's the story of what we went through in our lives. And Anthony and I had to be vulnerable in a lot of points and share what was happening in our home. So I know that people that have seen it, they've been able to resonate with the many emotions that it brings and the relationships that we've had. But I'm seriously honored that you have presented it to your class because it does teach you a lot of things in life to go through, and a lot of it is resilience and hope, and determination.
Yeah, resilience and hope and determination, right? And some of us, I don't know if any of us were born with that, right? We could
Right.
say that, but that's a lie, right?
Very true. Yeah,
Resilience and hope comes from testing of time, right? Testing of life and what those challenges that come about,
very
right?
true.
And
Yeah.
so talk about before we talk about the challenges, I think there's someone here that I think can I'm a big fan of pouring flowers into you, and I believe Coach Charles is
Sean.
yeah, Coach Charles. Uh,
Sean?
How you doing, Judy?
Hi. What are you doing here? Hello.
Well, they invited me here to congratulate you on this award that you're being presented with.
I, I did not know I'm getting an award, but hello.
yes, you're definitely getting an award. But before we get into the award, Coach Charles, tell us about when you met. This is like a this is your life moment kind of thing. When you met
Okay.
Dr. Robles, what impact did she have on your life to make you feel unstoppable?
Okay. So, well, when I met Judy, you got to remember, I was the head coach at Arizona State. And, I just came in as a head coach and I was trying to get the program turned around and get the culture right within the program. And so, we did Hell Week. We ran Squaw Peak on a regular basis. We did a lot of really interesting things to really find out what type of what kids were committed to the program and which kids were just there to be part of something. Anyway, so long story short, when I first met Judy, I think she thought I was a little too hard on Anthony as far as pushing him to accomplish the things that I knew he was capable of, but more importantly, what he wanted to accomplish. There's a certain amount of work you have to put in if you want to win a national championship, and I knew what it was going to take for him to get there. So I was pushing every button I could to make sure I could get him where he told me where he wanted to go. And so I would have to say, like when our at the beginning of our relationship, I think it was, um, I don't want to use the word rocky. I don't think she appreciated me for as much as I would like her had to like.
I'm a fierce protector of my kids. So when I see something that's a little off, I mean, that run up that hill, that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
no,
yeah,
not
yeah.
happy about that at all.
So, like I said, we were doing a lot of things where we're trying to really build a culture and instilling the wrestlers on the team hard work, and then just really getting rid of the kids that really didn't want to be there. But I think when I got there Anthony's junior year. I think as the years went on, though, I think she started to understand what I was trying to accomplish for Arizona State Wrestling, but also for Anthony. Anthony had his own personal goals, and his goals were a little bit more. He wanted more than most of the guys on the team did at the time. put it that way. And so therefore he got a lot more of our attention in certain areas, and we also really, try to push him. One of the big things that I realized when I got to Arizona State is, how do you get a person with one leg in great wrestling shape? I mean, just, running is not going to do it and things like that. So there were some things that we did. We commandeered a arm bike and started getting in shape with that. So I think over the course of time, Judy started to realize that, the things, although they seemed hard and outrageously crazy, they were a great benefit to the program, but most importantly to Anthony. And after winning a national championship, Judy expressed to me and thanked me for my hard work, and that made me feel really good that, that I was able to help Anthony and others accomplish the things that they were there to do and wanted to accomplish while they were there. And since that, I've been on the board with the Robles Unstoppable Foundation, which Judy is the president of, and she brought me on board as someone that could help grow the foundation. So I really do appreciate that as well. So like I said, I think over time I've warmed up to Judy, and I think that she realizes that I'm here to help and to guide and to mentor and do whatever I can to push people forward.
I agree. It took a little bit, Sean, but I think what you've been consistent and steady, and I think to me with Anthony, because being his mom, people come and go and usually want something out of him. And there's like a point in time where they think they can get something out of him. But I think you've been one of the few people that have just been there because you really care about my son. And I saw that and I appreciate it.
Awesome. The Coach Charles, round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Coach Charles.
Yeah, Sean, thank you.
and Dr. Robles. And Dr. Robles, you said this, right? The run up that hill was woo, right? And it's the idea of doing what you have to do in order for you to do what you want to do. So talk about and the challenges that we think we may not be able to overcome, but with rooted in our faith, rooted in ourselves, and Dr. Charles, I mean Coach Charles saw something in Anthony that came from you. So talk about how you were able to, you and I had this conversation about 31 years and 3 decades. Mention one or two examples of something that the challenge that you had to overcome, something that you did not want to do, but you did it because you knew there was a higher purpose and it was bigger than what was in front of you.
Well, I think for me, I think it started when I was 16 years old and I had Anthony. I was just a statistic. I was a Latina teenager with a baby. Poor Anthony, according to them, he had one leg to this wild, crazy mom who wasn't going to make very much of herself. But I tried to put my life together. I thought like getting married was going to be the answer. And then I went on to have, 4 more kids. But I didn't let that age stop me from going, I deserve better. I want better. I know I can be better. But the domestic abuse in my relationship was very profound. And it was really hard to get out from under that. I mean, I was in that marriage for 20 years. So it was a daily battle within myself to not give up. And I think that challenge, like it wasn't just like a moment for me, it was a constant not giving up hope, not giving up on myself. But then eventually, I think it was honestly education. And I know that I'm an educator and that's kind of where I should come from. But I firmly believe that that's what helped get me out of where I was. Like my faith is definitely very strong, but I think that education was the platform that was used to pull me out and to give me something more than just the life that I was living. So in getting my degrees, one after the other and still being in that relationship, I think that fighting through that taught me something more too. But as my kids were getting older, I mean, there were 5 and my youngest was 9 and Anthony was in college. I knew that they were all seeing so much more than they should have. And I think that was another battle that I had to fight. I had to give up what I thought that I wanted, being that wife, hanging on and expecting this marriage to change and think God's going to change it and, it never changing, but going, I need to be that person for my kids. So I had to put what I thought that I wanted and what was good for me aside for them. And once I did that, once I did those two things, once it was, realizing that education was where I needed to be, and then putting my kids first, I think those were the two hardest decisions I had to make, even though my kids were always first, but it was letting go of myself completely and going, I need to be better for them. Those were difficult, but those were life-changing moments for me because I realized that I had to figure out what was good for me and what I wanted. And it was the love of my kids that helped push me to reach that next level. I mean, of course, Anthony was the beginning, but he was always so patient with me. He loved me through so many things, and he was fighting his own battles and dealing with his own problems at home with his stepdad and, not being accepted at school. But he loved me enough to wait for me, wait for himself to rise, which meant a lot to me and had a profound effect on my journey as a person, as a Christian, as a mom, and just as a woman. It was that love that my son gave me from the very beginning that just pushed me through.
Thank you for sharing that. Unconditional love, right? The power to persevere, the ability and the willingness to let go and when you let things go, you're now letting things grow, right?
Yeah.
And that's important. That's very, very important. Dr. Robles, you talked about those challenges, 20 years. You talked about being a parent, a young parent, and then having more children, but then seeing this education as a path, right? We are educators, right? A professor of entrepreneurship here. We have a few of our colleagues here who are a part of Miami-Dade College. And a lot of times our students say, hey, I don't need a college degree. Right? That's not gonna. I know people making billions and millions of dollars without college degree. What do you how what's your thoughts on that in terms of why is getting a degree important and pursuing higher education is important and the discipline thereof? And Coach Charles, I'd love you to speak on that after Dr. Robles.
Well, to me, getting my degrees and what I told my kids, like I'm a first generation college student. Like my parents did not go to college, and all five of my kids have gone on to college and have degree. Like yeah, I'm surprised, but thank you. But the reason is, and I think what I showed them was that getting that degree was much more than that piece of paper or that or that sign on my wall. It was what I learned along the way. It was the socializing with others. It was the discipline of turning in that paper. It was getting along with others. It was learning the diversity of cultures that were around me. But just absorbing that and becoming and figuring out who I am and the person I wanted to become. And it's like getting that understanding of who I was. And it's just that pattern of discipline and learning and pushing through and starting something from beginning to end and having that to offer. Because when you have that degree, it shows a lot. It shows a lot of character, and it shows that, I mean, they're not easy. Getting a degree is really difficult. The classes and the people along the way, but pushing through, to me, it's so much more than that because I can't remember what I learned in a class. I remember classes that stuck out. I remember taking Shakespeare and hating it. It was awful, but I went through it. But I learned things in that class as well. So it's how does this affect me and my growth? And I think that's what's important about a degree. It's getting all you can, regardless of the subject that you're learning.
You're getting all you can, regardless of the subject, starting something and seeing it through. Coach Charles, you're a coach. Talk about that. Speak to that about starting something and seeing it through. How important is that in this course it's called educational entrepreneurial leadership? How important is that in leadership?
Oh, it's everything. I mean, you have to be once you have to be a goal setter in sports, and you want to set very high goals for yourself. And part of getting to those goals, you're going to have steps on what you need to do, sometimes on a day-to-day basis, to even be close to accomplishing that goal. So the word discipline is a very important part of this process. You have to be disciplined on what you want, but you also have to have a clear understanding of what you want. I mean, obviously, I mean, Dr. Robles, I call her Judy, but Dr. Robles, she had to she had to be very targeted on what she wanted and how she wanted to go about getting it. And then mentally, she had to put together a plan, just like we all do, on how it's supposed to look, as far as the journey to getting to that point. So sports are really no different from being an entrepreneur. You're setting goals, and there's certain things that you want for yourself or your company. You have to have very clear, specific steps on how to get to the goal. That's part of that journey. And then, I mean, the word luck is very interesting as well, because luck means nothing more than opportunity meeting preparation. So you want to prepare yourself for anything and all things that are possible to help your business grow, and be lucky enough when things fall in place, at the right time and right time and right circumstances for you to benefit from that. So always preparing yourself is the key. Always being ready, and discipline. Set a goal, line out your steps on how to get to that goal, and make yourself have the discipline to do those things, even if it's on a day-to-day basis, to get to it. People that stay on the path and don't deviate from what they really want usually will get what they want. I truly believe that.
And thank you, Coach Charles. And I'm gonna jump right back to Dr. Robles in terms of purpose, purpose. I saw in that movie the cross everywhere, right? Just over the past weekend, we just, for those who celebrate Easter, right, the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, right? Some people may believe in God, some may not believe in God, right? Some people believe in the universe and things like that. But even with the universe, our DNA, we are made of the same components that are in the universe. Nitrogen, oxygen, all that stuff is also in our bodies, right? And if you go on the spiritual side, right, we are made in the image of our creator. What role does doing things on purpose, with purpose, play in overcoming challenges and where you are today?
I think me leading with purpose, because sometimes the direction I was going wasn't always the right direction. But I kept trying, and I didn't give up, and I would hit a wall, and then I would move forward. And then sometimes it was self-inflicted. Sometimes I was doing it to myself, or there were other people. It was my marriage. It was, we didn't have a lot of money. So there were all these things. But to me, it was just pushing through and finding another way. Knowing that my goals that I was setting for myself, and I didn't know what they were. I didn't know I wanted a degree, and I didn't know I wanted to, someday be a doctor. I didn't know all those things, but knowing that I wanted more, knowing that I could reach for more and that I expected more of myself, I think that was the purpose behind me. It was wanting something better for myself, for my kids, and for me, it was trusting God along the way. Even when I doubted, even when I was like, I don't understand why I'm going through this, but knowing that whatever I was going through, as bad as it was, I was going to use that to better my life for myself. It was like, okay, this is messy, but how do I get out of it and remain positive and remain focused and not be bitter? Because that bitterness can just seep, and it can make you the person that you don't want to become, the one that people don't want to be around. So I think in me wanting my kids to not have the life that I did with my relationship, I had to show them more. So they were also my purpose. It was going, I want better for them, and not just in action, but it was, I want them to be better people. I want them to be better than me and make better choices and have better relationships that I did. I mean, that's what drove me. That's kind of why I'm here, is because I love them so much, and I wanted to be the mom that they deserved. And I chose to be that example to them.
And thank you for sharing that. And you chose to be that, right? You chose to answer a call that you didn't even know that you were on,
Yeah.
right? Like you said, there was something that you wanted more, you wanted to do more, and you took action, not even knowing, like you said, there was a wall that you kept hitting, right?
Yeah.
You went over that wall, you went under that wall. Coach Charles will tell you that when they're wrestling, they go under, they go up, they go over. They have to figure it out, but the
Yeah.
goal is to get to where you need to be or answer that call to not just win, but winning is more than just winning. It's really understanding who you are and what you're called to be. And before Coach Charles, I'm gonna get to you real quick, and then Dr. Robles, I would love to, for both of you. Coach Charles, what would you tell your freshman year of college? What would you tell your freshman year of college self today?
Oh, very easy. To network more. I thought about it very clearly. I had a great college career. I did a lot of things, but it was all within wrestling. I really did not network the way I should have in college, as far as meeting other people from other sports or even just other academic departments. I was just there to wrestle and go to school, and that's what I did. But looking back as a grown man, my freshman self, I would have been more involved in more things on campus. I would have networked better, to have more relationships. So after graduating, I just didn't know wrestlers, but I knew people that were out in the business world. So that would be my thing.
Awesome, awesome. And Dr. Robles, what would you tell your 16-year-old self today?
Ooh, don't meet that guy.
Okay.
Behave. Oh, when I was 16 and I had Anthony, and I guess it just depends on where you land. I would say I would not change a thing about Anthony, and he and I have talked about it. We would not go back and give him two legs, and I wouldn't go back and change that experience. But I think if I did, I would have gone to college right out of high school and started back then, because I had so many goals and dreams, and I gave up on them for something that I knew that I didn't want. Um, I was trying to find myself, and I didn't. And I was listening to other people and trying to fit a mold what other people were trying to make me be, or I thought they wanted from me, instead of being who I knew I was. And I think that's what I would tell myself. It's okay to be you, as dorky and as I can be, and just, I'm just me. But I was afraid of that person. I'm not afraid of that person anymore. And it took me 30 years to figure out, like, I'm okay with being Judy. Not everybody's going to like me. That's okay. I think that, trying to please everybody and be what everybody wants, I would tell myself it's okay not to be what everybody else wants. Just be okay in your own skin. Yes, you have a son that has one leg, and that's okay. You can still be whoever it is you want to be. That's not a setback. Anthony was the biggest blessing that I've had.
Listen, Dr. Robles. So believe in yourself, right? Shine on. Do what you love, right? Everything has beauty. Dream through fear, love without limits, and imagine, right? Imagine what we could be if we leaned into who we are.
Right.
And so I'm going to share something before we get into Q&A. I'm going to share one quick thing. Here's the award that Coach Charles was talking about. This is a digital award. I need to email it to you. So,
Thank you.
the certificate is proudly awarded to Dr. Judith Robles. We take great pleasure in presenting the certificate of appreciation because you have poured into the next generation, poured into your son and children and other children, and poured into others. We want to pour into you. As our entrepreneur leadership guest speaker, Dr. Judith Robles, in recognition of your valuable contribution to the next generation and the heartbeat, let me add, I'll fix that, and the heartbeat of Unstoppable on this day, the 21st day of April 2025.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Dr. Judith Robles. But before we get into our Q&A, I have one more thing.
Well, there it is.
Hey, Mom. Just wanted to stop by and say I love you, and also just to say thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've taught me in my life, just teaching me and my siblings to believe in ourselves, to give our very best in everything that we do, to cling to our faith, and also just to not allow our challenges to become excuses. That's something I learned from you from day one when the rest of the world saw me for what I didn't have, for what I couldn't do, you chose to not allow me to believe that, to not allow me to see myself in those eyes. And so thanks to you, Mom, I was able to accomplish what many people would have said was impossible. So I'm truly blessed to have an amazing mom who I see as my hero. You're a leader in my life, and a leader in a lot of people's lives. And also a special hello to Professor Desouvre's entrepreneurial leadership course, and the class that is sitting in right now and have an opportunity to listen to my mom share with you. I know you all probably enjoyed it. My mom's an amazing speaker, and she has an amazing story in and of her own right. She is truly unstoppable. So, Mom, I love you so much. Again, thank you. And to everyone watching right now, I wish you all the best of luck. And I hope you take that word unstoppable, what my mom has shown you, what she has shown me, and apply it to your life so that you can believe you're unstoppable too. Y'all take care. Mom, again, I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you soon.
Oh. Ooh.
Dr. Robles.
Thank you for that surprise. Oh my gosh. That was nice. Okay. Thank you.
It's all right. We are human. And that is a remarkable thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to own it, and we need to understand the challenges that are part of that. And at Miami-Dade College, opportunity changes everything. And when I saw that film, one, I want to share with you, I went to Drexel University. So when they said that he didn't accept the Drexel University, they were like, oh my goodness, what happened? But then, I was like, the story moved me so much that I had to share this. And I had to reach out and thank you for that. And our students are amazing students. I want them to see this is not Rocky, right? Rocky's fictional. He is not real. That Anthony Robles is real, right? Anthony Robles, though, would not exist without Dr. Judy Robles. And for that, ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Dr. Judy Robles. Unmute your mics and make some noise. So now it's time for Q&A. If you have any questions, please you raise your hand or put something in the chat, and the floor is yours. Not everybody at once. And we have a question in the chat that says, Christopher wants to know whether did you know J-Lo, who played?
Oh, did I know her? You know what? She was amazing. We first met by Zoom because I was in Arizona and she was in California. And what was supposed to be an hour Zoom, it lasted almost 3 hours long. And during that time, I shared a lot of stories with her that I haven't shared with anybody else. But it was to develop that character, to be Judy Robles authentically. She cried with me. She shared with me her own stories. And then when it was time for filming, she had added in a whole bunch of things. Like, there was a lot more Judy in there than there was before. But what she did was she made it me. And it was that constant communication that we had. Like on set, she would ask me questions. And then she's like, what did you say here? And what did you do here? She wore a lot of my clothes. She wore my coat and my beanie and my shirt. And she learned like my walk and how I talk. So that person in that film, that attitude, she totally got that from me. And I told her she did an amazing job. So she really jumped into getting to know who I was so that she could play Judy on screen. So we did spend a lot of time together, and she's actually very funny. Very
Awesome.
funny. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Robles, for sharing that, because I noticed as time went on in the film, she dyed her hair darker. Her hair kept getting darker and darker. I was like, wait a minute. She started resembling you more and more.
Right. Yeah. Well, what she did, what was great was she said, tell me about the hair. I remember that being one of her questions. I'm like, what does that mean? And she said, so I noticed that throughout it, your hair was this color, and then it was this color. It started off dark, and then she's like, and then you ended up dark again. And so what I shared with her during that time was, I didn't even know that she picked up on that, but I had tried to change myself so many times and in so many ways, and with my hair and what I wore during that marriage, just so that my ex-husband would accept me. Like, if I change my hair color, it'll be good. Like, maybe he'll like me like this. And he never did. But she picked up on that because I kept trying to change who I was for somebody else. So when I started off dark hair, that was me. And then in the end, when I was dark haired again, once again, that was me, because that's who I am. It wasn't the blonde and the lighter hair. But she saw that. So she wanted to make sure that that was throughout the whole film, that it was weaved in.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like, wait a minute, this is very interesting. Like the hair was acting itself.
Yeah, pretty much.
So thank you for answering that. Another question from Andrea. It says, can you speak more on your story of how you and Anthony went through the journey, how both of you involved with all the obstacles down the path?
That's a really long answer, and I'll try to shorten it and make it long at the same time. When I was 16, Anthony was more like a doll, and he was with me everywhere. But then there was this point when I knew that I needed to let Anthony be Anthony. And so during that relationship, there was a lot of me stepping in, trying to help him and protect him and to let him grow. But there was also a lot of me stepping back and allowing him to gain his strength and to believe in himself and to be that person. Even when we were like going through what was happening at home, our relationship and all the obstacles, Anthony and I had, and to this day, we still have it. We have like nonverbal language that we don't share with anybody else. Anthony and I can look at each other and immediately know what each other's saying. We can say, I always say, we can say 100 words in one glance and one head tilt that I can still recognize. And I think that that was a way that we survived so many days and so many times. But it was also being able to understand each other when no one else did. When Anthony knew and saw what I was going through and understood the pain, and when I saw and knew, and I stepped back and let him, but at the same time, we always knew that we were there for each other, regardless of what we were going through, regardless of what mistakes we made. We knew we leaned on each other, and you know, we still do. We're still very close, and it doesn't take away from my other kids, because I'm very close to all of them too. They each add something in my life, but I like to tell people that Anthony and I grew up together, and without him, I wouldn't be who I am.
Oh boy.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Robles. We have another question. Isabella asks, can I ask how you became comfortable letting everyone into your personal and vulnerable life and side, and how you guys overcame that as a family?
You know, it was really difficult. And at times it is still really difficult, because in sharing all those stories and then watching it for the first time when Anthony and I saw, we didn't know how they were going to piece it together, because when you're on set, there's so many different things happening and you don't know what they're keeping and what they're leaving out and how they're going to portray you. It's just, I'm giving you all this to do with it, and I'm going to trust you. And I think what was great about Billy Goldenberg, the director, was that he cared about us as people. And so whatever we wanted to share and whatever we didn't want to share, he would take it out or keep it in. We even changed the name of my ex-husband. His real name's Ron, and they changed it to Rick only because it was just so close to home that we wanted just a little bit of distance. But being vulnerable was really, really hard. And I have to say that we didn't do it for ourselves. Anthony and I decided early on that it wasn't about us, that if there was just one person that we could reach out to that could resonate and strengthen the things that we went through in their own lives, that we would do it. And we knew that, I knew especially that I had to share what was going on in my marriage for Anthony's story, because Anthony didn't just one day decide I want to be, you know, a wrestling champion, and then he worked really hard at wrestling and got really strong, and there it was. There were so many other battles that he was facing. So I knew for it to be a true story, we had to let him in. And honestly, sometimes I've seen this film about 60, 70 times. I mean, probably more than that. But each time I watch it, I'm like, I kind of cower at some parts, like, oh, Judy, what was wrong with you? But again, knowing that vulnerability will help someone else. And the stories that have been shared and the the comments that have been made, Anthony and I are still on a daily basis knowing that it's worth it. And it's still really hard. Sometimes it is very uncomfortable, but I think the vulnerability has helped us both to learn how to heal, and to be okay with the past and the life that we've had. Because we're just people, we're like, yes, I have a doctorate, but there was a struggle behind that doctorate. And I want to share with other people that regardless of where you are at in your life, don't let that get in front of you. Don't let that get in the way of the goals and the dreams that you have for yourself. Because regardless of how old you are, I was a non-traditional college student. I didn't start going to college until I was in my 30s, but I didn't allow that to get in my way. And again, that's being vulnerable, and it's allowing myself to go, okay, everyone, or okay, moms and dads out there who, find themselves with no direction, then please, like, try something new. And you don't have to do the same path or follow the same path that I did, but it was being vulnerable and helping someone else out, even if it's just that one person. That's what is allowing Anthony and I to heal. That's what's making this a little bit easier, and just showing the genuineness of who we are as mother and son.
Awesome. Last question, and right before we get to after the last question, I'd love to hear from Coach Charles, a 2 minute, like a 1 minute rah rah, as he would say in the locker room, and then Dr. Rulis, your advice to our students today. So the last one is from Joshua Young. I'm curious, what is Anthony doing now? He's obviously a very special young man. I love his energy and his genuineness.
Yeah.
Dr. Robles.
What is Anthony not doing now? Anthony and I we are writing a children's book together. It's like for early readers. We're putting that together. And then he's speaking all over the country. He's actually international. He's been to other places, but he's a high school wrestling coach. That's his heart and soul. And then he has wrestling clubs. He has one, I think, today that it's going on. But Anthony's very busy. No more Guinness Book of World Records, because I know he's broken a few, but he's getting older. He's also a dad. He's a dad of a beautiful 2-year-old little boy, Abel. I just got to see him yesterday. But Anthony, I leaned over when it was done, and it's funny that you asked that. I'm like, okay, Anthony, what's next? Because I feel like we're always pushing each other. Like, okay, I'm going to do this, and you're going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I'm like, I can't get any more doctorates. I'm kind of done. But he's got goals, and I'm like, I'm not done, because I'm also writing my own book. So it's my experiences being Anthony's mom and everything that I went through. Not the same path, but kind of showing my journey through all of it, and watching Anthony grow and watching my other kids be who they are. So yeah, Anthony's got his hand in everything. But I think to me, the most important is he is a husband and a father right now.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Right before we go, Coach Charles, what is, imagine we're all in the locker room, right? We're in a Zoom locker room. What would you say to those, what words of advice do you have for our students today in your Coach Charles way?
Okay, so knowing that you guys are an entrepreneurial class, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, the biggest thing I see is there's two types of people in business. There's people that see an obstacle as just something that's in the way for a period of time before they can get going further in the direction they want to go. And also, the other type of person is people that see obstacles and they get paralyzed. And if you are the person that feels like when there's an obstacle or anything in your way, specifically in business, and you feel like you're getting paralyzed, you need to get a mentor. You need someone that can help you get past and over those humps, around those obstacles in your way, to help you keep going. And if you're the first one that I talked about, if you're a person that sees obstacles as just a little bump in the road to get to where you go, keep on grinding, keep on working. You will get there eventually.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach Charles. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Coach Charles. Last but not least, Dr. Robles, what advice do you have for our entrepreneurial students?
Well, I have to back up Coach Charles, because I think that having a mentor is pivotal. In my life, I have 3. I have my pastor from California. He's definitely one of them. And then I have 2 who have pushed me along with my career and my personal life. So I think that is definitely key. I think simply that you can still lead um, when you're not perfect, while you're healing, while you're being challenged. You don't have to have it all together. Take those chances, and that's leading. That's showing somebody that you're trying and that you keep going, and lead from your lived experiences, whatever those are. And maybe you haven't gone through anything yet, and that's okay. But there's something around you that has made you the person that you are, that you're here today. And I think that you don't need permission to lead. I would say just keep trying and keep pushing yourself, moving forward. But to me, the most important, you can lead while you're healing.
Yeah, you can't heal what you don't reveal. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause for Dr. Robles one more time. And before we go, before we take a break, I'll play the video one more time from Anthony Robles because I think it says a lot. So here we go.
Hey, Mom. Just wanted to stop by and say I love you, and also just to say thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've taught me in my life, just, teaching me and my siblings to believe in ourselves, to give our very best in everything that we do, to cling to our faith, and also just to not allow our challenges to become excuses. That's something I learned from you from day one when the rest of the world saw me for what I didn't have, for what I couldn't do. You chose to not allow me to believe that, to not allow me to see myself in those eyes. And so thanks to you, Mom, I was able to accomplish what many people would have said was impossible. So I'm truly blessed to have an amazing mom who I see as my hero. You're a leader in my life, and a leader in a lot of people's lives. And also a special hello to Professor Desouvre's entrepreneurial leadership course, and the class that is sitting in right now and have an opportunity to listen to my mom share with you. I know you all probably enjoyed it. My mom's an amazing speaker, and she has an amazing story in and of her own right. She is truly unstoppable. So, Mom, I love you so much. Again, thank you. And to everyone watching right now, I wish you all the best of luck. And I hope you take that word unstoppable, what my mom has shown you, what she has shown me, and apply it to your life so that you can believe you're unstoppable too. Y'all take care. Mom, again, I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you soon.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, give yourselves a round of applause. At Miami-Dade College, where opportunity changes everything, it is up to you to be unstoppable. So, round of applause, round of applause. Thank you, Dr. Robles. I will send you the PDF of that, the certificate of appreciation, because we appreciate you.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm hoping and I'm working on trying to see if we can bring you down to Miami-Dade College and do a special screening at the College of Unstoppable. I'm gonna figure it out.
That would be wonderful.
Ask my students. Professor Desouvre is crazy. He figures it out somehow, some way. But we'll figure it out because we have at the college Miami-Dade Miami Film Festival, and if we could find a way to do a special screening, we will do that. If not, we'll figure it out. Don't worry, we'll figure something out. All right.
Okay.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Does anyone have any last words or thoughts for Dr. Robles?
Thank you for your lovely story. It's just been very inspiring, and even just to kind of like see how like even day to day as people, we let like little things get in the way of what we want to do, and even just seeing that movie and even seeing your son say like don't let the things that you don't have stop you from chasing your dreams. So I really do appreciate you and your story and just how vulnerable you have been. So this was amazing. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. From Andrea, I want to say congratulations to both of you. Thank you for taking your time to speak on this call. It is truly inspiring to see how difficult going and allowing yourself to go through all those motions in the journey, your relationship with you and your son is beautiful. I know how hard a mother works to be the best for their children. I speak from my own experience in watching my mom trying her best to see us through and give us what we need. Coach Charles, it is moving to know that the impact you have on Anthony and the way that you saw so much in him and what you did to help him through. And we all need someone like you, Coach Charles. And thank you. Thank you, Professor Desouvre, for making this happen. Professor Dr. Robles, it is the epitome of a change maker. This is from Dashiell Young. We can bring her for a change maker week in September. Let's go. Because I don't believe, we all will meet our maker one day. but I am sick and tired of giving flowers when someone cannot smell it. So our flowers is to you, Dr. Judith Robles, Judy Robles. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And keep on keeping on. You're just getting started. So let's go. All right?
All right.
I
Thank you so
appreciate
much
you.
for having me here. Really, this was an honor.
Have a good night, everybody. Dr. Judith Robles, we'll see you on the other side.
Bye-bye.
Hello, is it possible for me to get the meeting recording?
We have a recording, Pavel, but we'll definitely chat about it. Hopefully it recorded. Hopefully, I'm hoping it did. So we're gonna start the recording now.
Okay.